Mass culture is a unification of values and ideas caused by mass exposure to cultural activities or entertainment. Mass culture is possible only with a modern technology that can remove the boundaries between communities, creating a national or even global communication network. In the early 20th century, during the post-World War I economic boom, America encountered an era of industrialization based on mass production. In this economic climate, David Sarnoff, general manager of the Radio Corporation of America, tenaciously explored radio and television. He was the first to implement these forms of mass broadcasting, solidifying RCA's place in American history. Sarnoff's exploration of communication technologies and his implementation of a mass broadcast network allowed the development of a new business model based on advertising. This business model created American mass culture, which values consumerism as the new form of economic freedom and has created the modern American society we live in today. During World War I, American factories increased their efficiency through mass production. This efficiency remained after the war and was applied to the production of consumer goods, allowing thousands of products to reach millions of Americans. David Sarnoff, inspired by mass production, wondered if the communications industry could also develop to reach millions of Americans. Many people saw the potential of expanding the use of radios from naval applications to the public, envisioning a mass audience instead of just one individual on a ship. However, no one so far had the resources to turn this idea into reality. In 1915, while working at the Marconi Wireless Telegraph Company, Sarnoff sent the Radio Music Box memo to the general manager of the Marconi Company, which described Sarnoff's idea to expand the sale of radios to the public. Sarnoff wrote, "I have in mind a plan of development which would make radio a household utility. The idea is to bring music into the house by wireless." Then, in 1919, General Electric purchased the American branch of the Marconi Company and combined its radio patents to form a new company called RCA, the Radio Corporation of America. Later, in 1921, Sarnoff was promoted to general manager of RCA. This promotion gave Sarnoff exactly what he needed in order to turn the idea of mass broadcasting into a consumer product that could be mass-produced. Later that year, RCA put Sarnoff's mass broadcasting system to the test by broadcasting the Dempsey vs. Carpentier boxing match. Around 300,000 people listened, marking the first time radio was used for entertainment, the first event RCA broadcast to the public, and the first event that sparked mass culture. This was groundbreaking because people could experience an event live without having to attend it, and David Sarnoff made it all happen.
And they're all engineered by RCA Victor, world leader in radio.
RCA now needed a way to profit from their broadcast network. So, in 1926, under Sarnoff's direction, RCA founded NBC, the National Broadcasting Company, to create content. Sarnoff realized their broadcast network was an untapped source of revenue, which could be utilized for advertising their products. As RCA broadcast radio advertisements, more people bought their products, such as radios. As more people had radios, advertisements reached more people. As the audience grew, advertising became a better investment, starting this advertisement consumer cycle all over again. This caused RCA's business to skyrocket. After just 3 years, RCA earned $83.5 million, leading RCA to become the powerhouse of the communications industry. With the huge audience that NBC drew, radios were in the homes of most Americans by the early 1930s. Sarnoff recognized the immense profit RCA could gain by expanding the use of their broadcast network to other companies, not just RCA, so he sold airtime on RCA's network. This developed a completely new business model, with RCA at the center because of the new interaction Sarnoff created between RCA and other advertising firms. Previously, businesses sold products directly to their consumers. However, RCA could not gain money through this system because NBC had to give their content to consumers for free, as anyone with a receiver could access it. RCA moved to a new model where other companies' advertising firms paid RCA to broadcast their advertisements, spurring RCA's listeners to purchase the advertised products, giving the other companies more money to spend on more airtime from RCA.
When you brush your teeth with Andy Becker saying, keep cooking with Crisco.
For the first time, listeners were exposed to enticing advertisements that interrupted their entertainment. This spread a new idea of economic freedom, marked by consumerism, to all American listeners, because the advertisers tapped into the psychology of thinking you need a product if you are told you need it. Therefore, this new business model fueled the concept of American consumerism as economic freedom, which is American mass culture. As RCA broadcast the same advertisements and entertainment to millions of Americans, the idea of consumerism as economic freedom quickly spread, changing American society. For example, radio advertisements changed the role of American wives. Previously, wives spent almost all of their time doing housework. Now, with affordable, mass-produced and advertised products, wives were liberated from their time-consuming traditional role with labor-saving appliances. After World War II, Sarnoff saw and explored a new broadcast medium, television. Now with television, the speed of the advertisement consumer cycle increased, accelerating the growth of a consumerist American mass culture. Furthermore, the impact television had on American homes was greater than that of radio because it was visually enticing and more consolidated. Only 3 networks, NBC, CBS, and ABC, broadcast all television to America. By reaching such large audiences, RCA's radio and television content had the power to shape American behavior because almost all Americans were watching the same television, creating a unified mass culture. For example, in the 1950s, shows like Father Knows Best and Leave It to Beaver became a staple of American culture, communicating a social norm Americans wanted to reach. David Sarnoff left RCA in 1970 and died on December 12, 1971. In his eulogy, RCA's board of directors described Sarnoff as the architect of RCA's rise to world leadership in electronics, and praised him as someone who has left his mark upon the nation and the world. GE bought RCA in 1986, ending the most powerful company in the communications industry. However, even with RCA gone, RCA's impact on American mass culture continues because the business model RCA developed based on advertising has been widely adopted, used by companies such as YouTube, Facebook, and Google. This business model has become so successful that it is impossible to escape advertisements and the resulting consumerism in society today. Times Square is a monument to advertising culture. Black Friday is a nationally accepted day for consumerism. Advertising on clothes has even become a normal part of American fashion. The American economy is based on consumerism and consumption, causing economic prosperity, but also environmental problems. And it is unclear as to whether Americans will be able to balance the safety of the environment with the consumerist lifestyle we've grown so accustomed to. This is our culture. This is our society. David Sarnoff's exploration of mass broadcasting changed America. David Sarnoff led RCA to the top of the communications industry, created American media as we know it today, and developed an entirely new business model based on advertising, that caused Americans to encounter a mass culture based on consumerism as economic freedom.